All right. Hi, guys. So we're moving on and talking about mean, median, mode, and range. So the first one we're going to focus on is the mean. So the mean is the, right here, average of the set of data. So a lot of times, I know with your CDBs and things like that, we'll say the average score was, and whatever it was, we're talking about the mean. It's the mean score. So to find the mean, you are going to add up all of the numbers. So you're going to add all of the numbers you have together. Then you are going to divide by the amount of numbers in the data set. So if my numbers were 1, 3, 5, 7, I would add these numbers together. So 1 plus 3 is 4, plus 5 is 9, plus 7 is 16. And then I would divide it by the amount of numbers. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 numbers in my data set. So my mean would be 4. If that was my data set right there. Okay. The next one we have is what's called the median. So the median is the middle number of the data set. To find this, you list the numbers from least to greatest. So you put them in order from least to greatest. Then you cross off one on each side until you find what the middle number is. So if I use these same numbers, 1, 3, 5, and 7, I'm going to cross off on each side. So one on the left, one on the right. One on the left would give me 3, and one on the right would give me 5, but then there's nothing left in the middle. So what you then have to do is if 3 and 5 are left, what is in the middle of 3 and 5? Well, the middle of 3 and 5 would be 4. So our median would also be 4 for that data set. Now, if I gave you 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9, then we cross off one on each side, and we're left with just that 5 in the middle. Okay. So then that would be our median right there. So it depends on how many numbers you have. Okay. All right, so that's mean and median. Now we have our mode. So our mode is the number that shows up the most. Okay. If each number shows up the same amount, there is no mode. So it's possible to have no mode. And there can be more than one mode. So for example, if I had those same numbers, 1, 3, 5, and 7, they're all there once, so there's no mode. Okay, so no mode. Now, if I had 1, 1, 3, 3, 5, 7, we would say 1 and 3 were the mode. Okay. Then you could also have something like 1, 3, 5, 5, 7, and you would only have one mode, which is right here, which is 5. Okay, it's whatever one occurs the most. All right. The next one on here is what is called the range. So the range is the difference between the largest number and the smallest number. So to find it right here, we're going to take our largest minus smallest. to find it. So if we use this same set right here, our largest number is 7 minus our smallest number is 1. 7 minus 1 is 6, so 6 is our range. Okay. And then the last thing we have here, this one's kind of hard to read. It says a number that is either much larger or much smaller than the other numbers in the data set is called an outlier. Okay, so an example of this would be if we're talking about how old everybody in our class is. Okay, if you're talking about how old everyone in your class is, most people would say 11 or 12. If you include Miss Guys and myself, we would both say 20-something. 20-something is way different than being 11 or 12. So Miss Guys and I would be the outliers because we're much older than you guys. Okay, so that's how an outlier works. So we're going to try these with some of our data sets here. Okay, so the last page. So we're going to find the mean, the median, the mode, the range, and if there's any outliers. Okay, so when you have a data set, the first thing is put them in order from smallest to largest. When I put them in order, I cross them out as I'm rewriting them. So in this first set of numbers, 7 is my smallest, then 9, then 10, and I cross them out so that I know I've used them already, because sometimes you're going to have doubles or triples of certain numbers, so you want to make sure you've used them. Then 13, then 17, and then 20. Okay, so the first one it's asking us to find is the mean. So when we find the mean, we have to add all these up, and then we're going to divide by however many pieces of data there are. So the first thing is we have to add them up. Do not use a calculator when you are adding. Okay, do not. So 7 plus 9 is 16. 16 plus 10 is 26. 26 plus 13 is 39. 39 plus 17 is 56. Plus 20 is 76. So we're going to take 76 and we're going to divide it by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to find our mean. So 6, 76, 6 goes into 7 once. 1 times 6 is 6. 1, bring down our 6. 6 goes into 16 twice. 2 times 6 is 12. 4, we're going to add a decimal and a 0, so we can bring down the 0. 6 goes into 46 times. 6 times 6 is 36. And we can stop there after 1 decimal. The only reason we would have to keep going is if we're comparing two means, okay, but we can stop at 1 decimal. So our mean is 12.6. Okay, the next one we're going to find is the median. So the median, if you remember, is the middle. So we're going to cross off 1 on each side until we get to the middle. So 1 on the left, 1 on the right. 1 on the left, 1 on the right. 1 on the left, 1 on the right. Uh-oh. So we need to figure out what's between 10 and 13 because they're both in the middle and we can't have two medians. So the easiest way to do this is to add 10 plus 13. So you get 23 and do 23 divided by 2. So you're finding the average between 10 and 13. So 2 goes into 2 once, 2 goes into 3 once, minus 2, 1, and it goes in 5 times. So it's going to be 11.5 for our median. okay? Our mode here, they all happen the same amount, so there is no mode because they're all the exact same amount. They all happen once, okay? To find our range, we take the largest number, so 20, minus the smallest number, so 7, to find our range. So 20 minus 7, that's a 0, by the way. 20 minus 7 is 13. So our range is 13. And then outliers are, is there anything dramatically different that doesn't really belong in the data? In this one, all the data kind of goes together, so there is no outliers. So you're just going to say none. Okay. This last one you can try on your own, or you can do it with us. I'm going to do it on the side here. So we're looking at this data set here. So same thing, I'm going to put them in order from smallest to largest first. So 15, 16, 17, another 17, and 18. Okay, so the first step is that we're going to add them all together and then divide by how many sets of data there are. So 15 plus 16 is 31. 31 plus 17, and you guys can write this down too. 31 plus 17 is 48. 48 plus 17 is 65. And 65 plus 18 is 83. And then we're going to divide by however many pieces of data there are. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 83 divided by 5. So 5 and 83. 5 goes into 8 once. Minus 5. 3 left over. 5 goes into 33. 6 times. 6 times 5 is 30. 3, we're going to add a decimal and a 0 and bring down the 0. 5 goes into 30, 6 times again. So 16.6 is my mean. Okay, so that's our mean. To find our median, we cross out the biggest, or the one number from each end, so a small and a big, a small and a big, and we're left with 17 in the middle. So this one, our median is 17. Okay, your mode is the one that happens the most. So mode and most. In this one, 17 is the only number that is repeated. So 17 would also be the mode because it's repeated. Okay. The range, we take the largest number minus the smallest number. So 18 minus 15, which is 3. So our range is 3. And then our outliers, there's, 15, 16, 17, 18 are all really close numbers. So we don't have an outlier again. So we have none, okay? Again, remember outliers are things that are dramatically different. So in this one, there are none. All right, so go ahead and go to Schoology and practice the mean, median, mode, range, and outliers.